Hi everyone, David Blakey. Today's Python video is Python raw input, a much shorter video in which we'll go through the simple but very effective and useful raw input built-in function of Python. Raw input, the basic syntax and usage for raw input is user input equals raw input. User input, of course, being a variable that could be any name. Remember, anytime we assign to a new name, the name is almost always up to us, whatever we want it to be, as long as it's letters and numbers and underscores and doesn't begin with a number. We can use any name we want. We could say my input equals raw input. Raw input, of course, is the built-in function that must be called that way. It's something that's built into Python, so we don't have to import anything. We also don't have to call it as a method on an object, which would normally be the case. You can see it's a built-in object like len or some of the other built-in objects that are just available to us. So raw input, as you may know, the function of raw input is to stop program execution, or really pause program execution, wait for the user to type something into the keyboard, and then assign that value to whatever variable we're assigning raw input to. So we say that raw input returns a string containing the keystrokes that were entered by the user. We can go ahead and say print user input. In fact, why don't we just clarify that exactly what we type gets put in. We could say the user value is, and I'm just going to concatenate to user input, and I'm going to put brackets around. And I do this sort of thing to clarify exactly what we've got here. As you can see, I've printed a string, and I've concatenated that to the return value of raw input. And then I concatenated after that a bracket and an exclamation point. The whole point being we're going to see exactly what was typed in user input, in raw input rather. So let's try it out. Test.py. So you can see it just stops. The program execution stops. That's raw input's job, right? To stop execution or pause it temporarily while we type something. Hello world will be our inaugural address. I enter that, and then it says the user value is hello world. So you can see that we got exactly what we were looking for. Whatever we typed went straight into the brackets. So that's all for raw input, really. All it does is pause program execution, allow you to type something, and then when you hit enter, it puts that string, whatever was typed, or it puts whatever was typed as a string, as its return value. And we are now assigning it to user input. So we could change this and say name equals raw input. We could begin with enter your name. And in fact, we could put a comma after the print statement, which will cause print not to drop down a line, but instead add a space to the print statement. Then our raw input will cause program execution to pause, and it's going to pause right after the print statement. We then assign the return value of raw input to the label name, and then we're going to go ahead and print the name. Your name is, this is really from, I remember this from the 8th grade. That's a great name. When you were 13 years old and new to computers, as many of us were, this is pretty awesome. Enter your name. Josephine. I'll be Josephine today. Your name is Josephine? That's a great name. So you can see that it's a simple program, and it's simply done. You can know that raw input always returns a string, and then you can use that string anywhere you'd like. Assign it to whatever label you'd like, and then use the label and thus the string variable anywhere that its string is appropriate. So that's raw input.